and welcome to the Women Can Project podcast. I'm Morgan, the host of today's show, and I am joined with Adria McMichael, the founder and CEO of JobSwiper, which is an app. Adria, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. So, Adria, to start, before we jump into what JobSwiper is, I'd like to learn a little bit about you.
Sure. I would say I'm mostly from Tacoma. I'm an Army brat. So
Okay.
I moved here in 1994.
We don't need dates.
Yeah, no dates. It was a long time ago. So by now I'm from Tacoma. Like there's
Yeah.
a point where you just
Yeah.
you claim it and you own it. I went to Curtis. I did the whole
Okay.
thing. I went to UW Tacoma.
Nice.
I went to TCC. You know, I am thoroughly from here.
Okay.
So that's my big claim right now is I love this town.
Yeah. And so you live in the area.
I do live in the area. I live across the bridge right now, but I would love to move back to this side of the bridge for traffic purposes mostly. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So you attended UW Tacoma,
hmm
and what did you go to school for?
That's the funny thing is it was mostly a history degree. I had no business. Yeah. Being in tech whatsoever. And I would strongly tell you that there's a lot of people that do that when you start to talk to people in the technology sector.
Yeah.
They just kind of get pulled into it in one way or another, and then they find out that they really love it. you
Yeah.
know, So,
Okay, so you're going to school for history.
Yeah.
What did you think? Where did you think you were going to end up?
oh gosh, nobody really loves history. Like if you're a history major and you love history, and you start to talk to people that this is what I do, and they're just like, yeah, I didn't like it so much. And so I really thought I was going to end up being a history professor.
Okay.
And that I was just going to convince everybody that it's actually cooler than it sounds.
Okay.
It is cooler than it sounds.
So your intended track was education.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were well supported
Oh,
to do
yeah.
that. Family was like, yes, definitely a good idea.
I mean, my mom always was like, you should go into business. And when she knew I was going to go to UW, she's like, they have an excellent business program.
It's a safe choice.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't see that at all. I never see myself going into business for myself. Because I was brilliant there and as a teenager, and I knew exactly what was good for me. But yeah, no, I had every intention of going to history because I'm very much like, I'm going to do the thing that I love to do.
Yeah.
And, whether or not I had complete support wasn't really ever an
You were
issue.
committed.
Yeah.
You knew.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you have a degree?
Yes.
Okay. You have a degree in history?
My degree, so at the time UW had interdisciplinary arts and sciences as that degree, and then you would go to your counselor and say, this is what I actually want my degree in.
Okay.
And so we just selected all of the courses that were history courses that would translate to UW Seattle.
Okay.
So if I did go and get my doctorate, they could see that she knows her history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You had a history, a
Yeah.
proven history.
Yes, I have a proven
Okay.
history of history.
So, what line of work, what industry did you find yourself in after college?
Oh, that was really funny. So I ended up, my first real after college job was for another Daniel Blocks, which is right on the corner of 21st. And again, it was like it's a tech startup, and my only thing that I could say on my resume at the time, I mean, I'd worked at Outback for like 8 years,
Okay.
So like they didn't
Yeah.
see a tech person
Yeah.
on paper. And so I was like, I grew up with computers. Like we were one of the first families. We had like a Commodore 64,
Okay.
like I remember my sister going to UW and she had AOL when it was like before people knew what AOL was, American Online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know what AOL
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we had that, and I'd always been able to troubleshoot. I mean, whether it's just my family or my friends, like I'm the person people go to when things break.
So you would be like the tech savvy
Yes.
family member.
Yes.
Every family has a tech savvy family member.
That's me.
Yeah. Everyone else is like, just turn it on and off again and everything will be fine.
Did you try unplugging
That
it?
malware doesn't really exist.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you worked for this tech startup. What was your role?
I was what was called a fraud analyst.
Okay.
So we took down phishing websites.
Interesting.
So, those weird things that come into your inbox and they're like, check your Chase account. And you
Yep.
are like, I don't even have a Chase account. Some people still click that link and then they go to this really terrible site that has them input their password and it gives fraudsters the,
Yeah.
all of the access. And so I would not only be able to identify those things, but then I would go and call the server that it was hosted on, or I would find like the owner of the website. If I would call anybody, you investigate and figure out who it is, and then you call them and you're just like, please take this down. Someone's grandma right now is like putting in her social security number. Yeah.
So for this startup company, what was the percentage of women that worked?
I was the only one.
You were of how many employees?
God, by the time I left, I think it was like 20 of us, and we rotated a couple more women in. When I left, there was 3 of us, total. So.
And what was the environment like?
I mean, back then, I mean, I'm in my mid to early 20s then, and so, there's a lot of passive aggressiveness. There was a lot of, I'm pretty pushy myself, you know. So there was a lot of guys wondering how I was getting things. I remember at one point, one of the managers was like, "We want to make you a trainer." And granted, I wasn't there as long as some of the other guys, but like this angered some of the other guys that were there, and so they offered, and then they took it away like the next day because it hurt somebody else's feelings, you know, male to yours. So yeah, they were like, so we can't actually make you a trainer, even though you'd be really good at it. And I've always been a trainer in some capacity, you know, so it's like, well, I actually have the experience and the ability, but that's fine because I don't have the number of months working here.
Okay. So it sounds like you threatened, some people were threatened by you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the guys were always really nice to me. Apparently I became a legend after I left, which was really nice. Yeah. Well, because it's not that I'm not afraid to do things. It's just that a lot of times I say the thing that other people, don't want to say. That nobody wants to say. And it's not that I don't, it's not that I just don't know better. And then I'm like, I probably shouldn't have said that. You know, like I always have that reaction afterwards. But there's, you know, a few times where I said things to leadership or management that everybody was thinking and nobody said it. They were a startup and we were all salary and we were making like $25,000 a year, like nothing, peanuts. And then they were like, well, since your salary, you guys are also on call on this, you know, Saturday or whatever your day off was. And I was just like, yeah, that doesn't sound legal. So I'm gonna check that. And I did. I called L&I and they're like, no, they can't do that, you know?
So you did the background research.
Yeah. Absolutely. But for a long, and I never actually got called in for it. It wasn't for me. It was like this one poor guy that they kept calling in and he just never wanted to stand up for himself and he never wanted to say like, I don't think this is fair. I mean, he would say it quietly like to us, but it was just like, well, I don't think it's fair.
So you took kind of the initiative.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there weren't a lot of women.
No.
And so what was your next? Where did you find yourself next?
Oh gosh. So I ended up having kind of like this heartbreak and I ran to Germany. My mom at this point was living in Germany.
Okay.
And so I went there. I had gained like 50 pounds and Germany is like this wonderful, magical place where you can eat everything in butter, but you walk so much that you lose weight. So
I ate a lot of Nutella when I was in Germany.
That's true.
It was all Nutella all the time.
Nutella
and a lot of walking.
Yeah. But you walk so much. And
you do.
So I ended up losing a lot of weight, but I had to take a year off. And then in Germany, I'm lucky that I had that ability.
That's a unique experience.
Yeah, it was a very unique experience. And, you know, yay for moms, you know, to just be like, oh, honey, let me fix your heart for you, you know, and then give you this experience. And she totally did that. And then I decided to come back to Tacoma.
Okay.
And at that point, Expedia was hiring, and I went in as a customer service agent. So again, a tech company, but this time very different.
Different role.
Yeah, very different role.
Okay.
And it was within 3 months, they shut down the center, but they offered me a promotion. Move to Vegas, we'll promote you. And I was like, sure, army brat, you know, I'm like, I'll move. Who cares? You know, I don't care where it is. And so I moved to Vegas, and within 9 months of living there, I got another promotion as a trainer.
Wow.
And then 3 months after that, they promoted me to a network trainer. So then I got to like travel too for Expedia, and that was really cool, but I missed it here. And so after a while, I ended up coming back up here so I could work in Bellevue, and I did like the crazy commute for a while.
What did you do in Bellevue?
It's a transport analyst role.
Okay.
So I handled a lot of their air, they were called air exceptions.
Okay.
So it's basically anything that happens in travel that doesn't make sense, my team would like analyze it and try to figure out what went wrong and fix it.
Okay.
So, and a lot can go wrong.
So how did you get to JobSwiper? How did that evolve?
This is an interesting thing that I was just talking about. You know, there's a point where you realize that you're in a relationship when you're at work, you know, that the company that you work for, whether or not it is a good relationship or a bad relationship or a toxic one, you know, it doesn't matter. You're in a relationship. And
with your job.
With your job, absolutely. Yeah. And there was a point where I was going into Expedia and my stomach would hurt. I was like very stressed out about it. And it wasn't just the commute. The commute was awful. But it was so much more. It was like the relationships that I had with the people there. And I was like, I don't know. I don't think I'm happy there. I think that's like, this is 2015, 2014. I started to recognize that I was not in a good relationship. And that thought process started to happen. And it took several years to jump and say that something needs to be done about this. And that was working in Puyallup. I was working for a company called TRICARE, TriWest, and they laid off like 300 employees. And all of the trainers, like we were all pretty close, you know, and we would talk about it because we started to look for other jobs. I mean, not just the people that were on the floor that were more likely to be laid off, but like every one of us were like, we don't know from day to day.
There was general dissatisfaction. Right. So you're all looking.
We're all looking, and then we're comparing these stories about, you know, all the frustrations of looking for a job. And I was saying one of the things that's very frustrating coming from a tech savvy person is that, you know, from the beginning, since I've been looking for jobs, since I've been old enough, all of the technology has been the same. There's still a monster.com, you know, and it's still exactly the same. You get this list of jobs. And then you're going in, you're not finding the right match. The wrong companies are trying to contact you. They look at your resume and they're like, hey, back in 1992, which I wasn't old enough then, but, you know, you did this job. Do you want to do it again? You know, and you're like, what? Don't lose my number. You know, like, don't ever call me again. And I was like talking to a friend about this, a coworker, and I was like, it's so much like dating. And she said, you know, I just got ghosted by this company, and it like clicked finally. And I was like, girl, I got to get off the phone. And I started looking right then, like, how can I make this app happen? Like, we need people to come back.
So when you say the app, like what did you have in your mind?
As far as
I realized, what was the app?
When you're out there dating, the one thing that Tinder or Bumble or any of these apps do is they give you control. And especially as a woman, like, you need that control when it comes to like who you're going to meet. You know, like you can recognize within 3 seconds of messaging that this is not the person for you and you're not going to meet them, you know? So how do we do that with looking for a job? Since we've already established a job is a relationship. So you should be giving those kinds of thoughts.
The right attention to the right fit.
Exactly. So the idea from being ghosted was, you know, when you're on Tinder or you're on Bumble and you're like looking through, you're like, that dude is going to ghost me, or, you know, that person is flaky. Like you already know. But what if you can, you know, bring that kind of energy to an app? Like what if you can do that with an app so that when you're looking out there for you, you're like, this
that
company,
kind of detail.
Yeah, this company seems perfect for me. You know, like they seem wonderful, you know, or
I can introduce them to my parents.
Absolutely. My parents would love them. That is a big one for me. But like, my parents would love them, you know, and that's what you want to do. You want people to put their best foot forward and to actually make a match. So companies are hiring the right fit and people are looking for the right fit from the beginning. Don't just take whatever comes your way, you know, don't settle for the
Yeah. So okay, so you had this idea for an app. What was the next step for you?
I got off the phone and I looked for who can create this app. I mean, the other thing that you could do is go to a coding class, right? And you can learn this. I just felt right then like this is one of those ideas that if I don't do it now, someone else is going to take it. Yeah. So I was like, I have to do this as quickly as possible. So I started the ball rolling right away. And I found they were called Brainy apps, and you submit the app idea and then they get back to you and see if it's viable or not. And turns out it was viable, you know? So not only did they see it like making money, but they're like, we can technically do this. A lot of people will come to them with ideas that cannot be done yet.
So Brainy Apps is a site that solidifies whether you can move forward with an app idea.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. So that's how I started. And, you know, I did not think at that time that it was going to be like a full-time company, that it was going to be something, that would be, a Tacoma Tech startup or anything like that. I was like, I'm going to create the app on the side and I'll have residual income, and then it'll just be nice, like, I don't know, $5 a hit. Yeah. I had no idea, and it quickly snowballed into you are now a tech CEO, like whether or not you realize that you are now a tech CEO.
Okay. So the Brainy app created the application for you, or did you have any involvement in the coding?
No. So I ended up starting with them. There was a couple of times where there was some communication gaps that I had concerns about. And so you go through different phases or different sprints for the app, and the first two happened. So they got all the way to the wireframe, which is basically how can we actually make this happen? And it's a map of your app. There was a 2-week communication gap where I was reaching out and they were not responding to me. And I was just
That's not good.
Yeah, they took my money and ran. I kind of freaked out about it. And in that time, a company called Kiwi Tech found me on LinkedIn. And one of the female leaders actually found me. And she was just like, hey, I just saw your LinkedIn and this sounds super cool. Would you want to talk to us about this? And I will tell you that we have like the startup program. And so what I ended up doing was going with Kiwi Tech. So for 1% of my app, 1% equity, they created my app. I did pay for it still, but it was I won't say it was cheaper, but like
Was there a higher level of trust there?
Yes.
Okay.
So they were so communicative. They still are. Like I can still talk to them. I have an account manager that's in Seattle, so he's local, and I can just like talk to him whenever I want. The project manager, she's always on board. Like even though I'm no longer paying for because the app has been made, she's like, yeah, we can do these things, and like she can answer all of my questions about future builds and everything. And they're just so. I trust them more. They're really, really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they built the app, and the app is currently, it's functional. You've got the website up. Okay. And so tell me about, during this process where you were having it built, did you seek any type of mentorship?
Not necessarily. I do almost on a daily basis. There are so many different websites. There's so many different forums. There's books out there that I would consider like mentoring me. And the people that are building my app, they've done this before. They can answer these questions. They've been so supportive and wonderful about like the things that I don't understand yet. The other day I was talking to a girl who is considering creating her own app, and she just wanted to talk to someone about it and like if it's a thing she could do. And just having that discussion, I realized I know a lot more than I do.
You know a lot more than you think you do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. A year ago, maybe not, but now I'm like, no, I totally got this. Like I can do this. There are a ton of resources out there. And no, not all of them are geared towards women. And you will get a little bit of blowback, but like the networking meetup.com, like there's always going to be someone who is willing to like just help you. They might not have all the answers, but you can talk to them about the ones that they do have, and they might be able to, push you the right way and get you in the right direction.
Okay. Did you experience any pushback? Did anyone say to you, you can't really do this? Or...
Oh yeah.
So where did that come from?
It happens a lot. Most of the time it happens with people that are not in the industry at all. I had one where I was like, this is the funniest one, is that last year I was dating or trying to, and I was on Tinder, and I was honestly I was on there to get more ideas and like how I'm going to monetize the app. But I was also on there like, I wonder if there is a guy out there perhaps for me. And one of the first ones to respond to me, he was like, I don't think it's going to work. I don't like the name. And I was just like, that's a weird thing to say, because everybody that I say the name to understands immediately what the app does. Like, I don't even have to describe it to them. And he was in like logistics or like moving logistics or something. I was like, that's interesting that you have an opinion, but okay. Like it's just not really anything that I asked for. And he's like, I don't think it's going to work. I was like, well, that's your opinion. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So it happens. Everybody really does have an opinion. Most people are really supportive, but some people are just like, I don't know. There's other job searches out there. I was like, I'm sure that when Burger King happened, they were like, oh, we can't do it. There's already a fast food restaurant out there. Yeah.
So yes. So you had people that were championing you and men, women.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. one of the things I just said, one of the first people that I talked to, because I didn't know what I was doing, and I reached out to like Alliance of Angels right away. So I was like, I'm going to need an angel investor. Have not created an app. Have no idea how this works, right? And they did. They gave me a 30-minute session with an angel investor, and they were very clear. Like, this is not like a pitch session. This is just to like kind of put you on the right track.
Path.
Yeah, on the right path. And his name is Dennis Joyce, and he is out of Seattle. And he looked at me and he said, "You're a CEO. Like, this app idea is really, really great, but I see you. You're a CEO." And that was just so. I mean, if there's anything that I took away, like if nobody else said anything to me for the rest of this journey,
yeah,
I have that, you know, and I'm just like, I don't care. Dennis Joyce says that I'm a CEO.
Well, because you were affirmed,
yes,
in what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's wonderful, and that's called the Alliance of Angels.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do they do?
So they are an alliance of angel investors.
Okay.
So when you are raising money, you want to start talking to different kinds of angel investors or different kinds of investors. And these investors typically will provide money for you in different ways. So if you're going to a venture capitalist, and not like an angel investor is just going to be like, here's $100,000, have fun. You know, they're not your mom. They do want something back, but it is less limited than, say, a venture capitalist.
I don't think my mom ever gave me any money and said, have fun.
Oh, God, I don't think my mom...
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Mom, if you're listening, I'm open to that now. You can give me some money.
Yeah.
I'll have fun with it.
My mom's definitely like, okay, well, go get gas.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Get some broccoli.
Right.
I noticed that you don't have any vegetables in the fridge.
Yeah, absolutely. No fun.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah, no fun. So, okay, so now so the app is live. So talk to me about the app. So you have a website.
Yes. So I have the website, and that is it hosts the admin portion of the website. So when companies want to list their jobs, they would go through my website, which is the admin.job-swiper.com, and that's where they host their jobs. So they are not required to have an app or a phone or anything like that. They can do that from their desktop. The app itself is an app store, and basically, you know, it looks almost it's so beautiful. So it's you would download it, you go in, you set your preferences, you say, you know, I'm looking in the Tacoma area, and then anything you want to be fairly specific, because in dating you would be very specific about what you want, and those jobs that match will show up on your just like a profile, like just like a Tinder profile, like the instead of guys though, you get like companies in their logos, with their descriptions of the jobs.
So this is marketed to both men and women. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
And so are you pulling jobs in mainly the Tacoma area? How are you filling these profiles?
The first one that actually signed up, besides my sister has pengems.com. I'll plug it for her. And she does hire out of Salado, Texas. So as long as they are based in the United States, they can sign up. I tried. I have a friend that's in the UK, and she's like, I cannot sign up. So I was like, all right, good to know. But as long as they are based in the United States, they can sign up and they can list jobs. And I have a couple that were in Tacoma. The only way that I'm doing it right now is like if I see it, like say on Facebook, and they're like, hey guys, we're hiring for this, I DM people and I'm like, hey, could you list your job it's free right now? Like it's completely free. It's mostly for feedback. Just go ahead and list your job, you know, on my app. And then I will also on my page say they are hiring in this area. I had one lady on LinkedIn who looked at my resume or looked at my LinkedIn profile and saw that I had Outback experience, you know, several years ago. And she was like, we're hiring a restaurant manager. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But will you please list your job? You know, so it's a lot of that. Like it's opportunity for me when I hear it. Again, like the social marketing or the digital marketing was not like my forte, but like I'm finding that as long as I'm willing to talk to people, it's better live, it's better in person, but that's how I get some traction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your overall vision? Like when everything, if in a perfect world, what's your vision for Job Swiper?
Oh my gosh. I have no doubt that it's going to be way more successful than I can even like visualize. But one of the things, I'm so glad you asked this question, like what I want to do to give back. So my mom is from Standing Rock Indian Reservation. And also, I went to a thing on Hilltop as well. And I realized that there are very underserved communities when it comes to technology. It is very rare to see women in technology, but it's much rarer to see like an indigenous person or a Black person in technology. So I want to do like coding camps, like free coding camps on my reservation, because nobody ever tells these kids like, you should definitely like become a coder.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, it's great money. It's fun to do. I think it's fun, but like it's fun to do. Technology is great. Nobody really gets that, message to these kids. So I want to start giving those messages in places that they're never going to hear it unless someone like me steps in. So that's one of my big things. My big give backs will be, to get most of my family.
Help spread education.
Yeah.
Well, this actually kind of pulls in some interesting resources that I found when I was preparing for this. And it touches on women who work in technology, not necessarily children, but you're going to be touching, all children.
Yeah.
That women only make up, women make up 56% of the professional workforce currently, but they only make up 28% of roles in software.
Yeah.
And then 25% of IT jobs.
Yep.
So we're grossly underrepresented.
Yes.
So you doing these education programs would be hugely beneficial.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, like, all jobs, I mean, I have like a theory that all jobs are eventually going to move to tech.
Yeah.
Apart from the trades.
Right.
The trades. But a lot of our jobs will move to tech. And that's where we should be encouraging people to go into the trades, into technology. We need to be looking forward and recognizing where the jobs of the future will be, and then educating them in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Every woman who has, come up to me and it's like, oh my God, how did you get this started? How did you do this? Like, why would you even consider this? I'm like, because I've worked in technology for a huge part of my professional time, being an adult, and you do get a lot of pushback, but we need to switch from letting people tell us that this isn't a sphere for us, like, to just saying it is a sphere for me. I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it better. I'm tired of being talked over in meetings. I'm tired of this. Like, I just want to see my face, when I look around a meeting table. I want to see more of me, like I want to see, and
diversity.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. I love seeing women coming in, and wanting to do this and own it. And I know that it's like really, really terrifying, but like do it anyways. There's so much that women do that's terrifying. Like, just do this one too.
It's so true.
Yeah.
There's so many scary things I feel like.
Yeah.
I do daily.
Yeah.
Why not? Why shouldn't
just
we do this
add
one?
This one.
Childbirth. I mean, like, that's like would be the ultimate. It would be the ultimate scare.
Yeah.
We can. I feel like app childbirth.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move towards the app.
I mean, it is like emotionally painful, but not as painful. Like, no physical pain.
That's really wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great. Okay, so the education. We didn't talk about that previously, so that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I would really. I know, of course, my goal is to be billions. Like have a multi-billion-dollar company, but like my big thing is like I want women and children specifically who are never going to get this message, like they just aren't going to get it.
Won't be exposed to the same message.
Yeah, I want them to get the message.
Yes.
I want, if STEM isn't your thing, if you don't like science, technology, math, if that's not your thing, that's totally fine. You can come to that conclusion. I get it. Like, but if it is, and you've been like hiding because someone is like, that's, what guys do, and we're really good at it. And it's like, no, you know what? There's some really bad ones.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So what affiliation? So you have this app, you're the CEO of JobSwiper. What affiliations are you part of, or how do you surround yourself with support so that you can continue to be successful as a woman in this industry?
So I found you guys on, I want to say there's the Tacoma Boss Ladies in 253. And then I'm also part of Female Founders Alliance. Dennis Joyce, the wonderful angel investor, he was like, you need to meet these women. And so I joined Female Founders Alliance, and they've been wonderful. This is all women who have startups, and they might not technically be tech startups, but they're all trying. Like, they're all doing the work and
putting in the hours.
And we ask, and it's nice to have a space where you can be like, I have a really dumb question, and to immediately, it's not a dumb question. Everybody's like, that is not a dumb question.
Yeah.
We have all asked that question, so, and to not feel like you're going to be judged for that. And that's the space that they provide. So And I've asked a lot of really strange questions.
So you're finding support and encouragement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I actually got really lucky. 3 Female Founders Alliance. I live, like I said, like on the other side of the bridge near Olalla, like in the woods. And there's like one other female founder there. And so it's nice to like meet up with her, like, you know, a couple times a month just to be like, hey, so am I still a crazy person? Or, you know, like I just need to know that what I'm doing is not.
Yeah. You need a sounding board.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need peers around you that you can have as a sounding board to just kind of like check your ideas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and there are no dumb questions or dumb ideas.
No, absolutely not. And especially in this sphere, it's just like if you are not asking questions, then I don't know. Maybe you're very lucky, but like, if you're not asking questions, you're not going to get the answer. So that's
really interesting, and that makes like as soon as you said that, the first thing I thought of is when I first started working for Lori, who's not here today. She said to me, if you're green, you're growing. If you're ripe, you're rotten. So you should always be growing, right? Always be learning. Yeah. And there's so many opportunities out there to learn. There's so many avenues that we can take to gain knowledge. And specifically now for women, education and universities and schools, they're targeting women specifically because we need to fill these roles and they need to provide the correct education, which actually leads me into something else I'd prepared. So you didn't go to a coding school specifically. You found kiwitech.com.
Yes.
But for those of our listeners who are interested in possibly coding or engineering or any type of software development, there's so many resources out there. You just have to go online and look. And I looked up a couple this morning that you could look up and take advantage of. And a couple of those are Code Academy, which is an online resource, Dev Bootcamp, which is an in-person training. Girls Who Code is a wonderful resource. It's a training program that better equips women to utilize and work in tech. And then there's also meetup.com, which you referenced earlier. Yes. That's a wonderful resource. If you haven't heard of meetup.com, you haven't been online.
Right.
But meetup.com is an online resource where people find other people that are interested in the same things. And I have gone on meetup.com myself, and I've found a plethora of groups that are dedicated to women in tech, people in tech. Just there's anything that you're looking for, you can find on meetup.com. So I'm sure there's like a boss ladies. Yeah. I'm sure there's a boss ladies meetup group. I should go on there. Yeah. We should go on there. Tacoma Boss Ladies. Yeah. But is it on meetup.com?
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah. There are so many resources for us now, and we'd be doing ourselves a disservice if we weren't taking advantage of them. Yeah. So, awesome. So if you could do it all over again, would you do anything differently?
Yeah. I don't know if I'd actually end up doing it differently, but there are some things that I found out along the way that I'm like, I could have done that,
Share those with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things I'm on it's a website called alice.com and there's another one called girlboss.com. And, on both of those sites, I've seen women asking like, hey, so I'm looking for a CTO or a chief technology officer, and I would trade you for you to develop my app for equity in my company. And I'm like, what? You can do that? Because here I am raising money, begging people like to bootstrap. Bootstrapping is like your first phase where you're asking people for money. And I'm not good at that. Like that is not my
humbling
forte.
phase.
It's like, please, sir.
Yeah. All of our twists.
Yeah.
Help.
Yeah, exactly. It's 100% like that. And so I'm like, I would have totally at least looked into that. Would it have been the best bet? Again, Kiwi Tech was amazing, and that was a really cool experience to be a part of. They're like a finely tuned engine, and being a part of them like gave me a lot of insight into the development portion of that and how I want things in the future. But there's also, I'm sure a ton of women coders out there that I could have been like, hey, so looks like you're bored, how about you do this? And then
get some experience. Yeah.
And then I would have had a co-founder from the beginning. Cause like the second step, of course, is like, now I need to start looking at co-founders and CTOs and, having someone share the vision from the beginning would have been nice. So now I'm like, and now I'm like, all right, so here's Job Swiper. Do you like it? Or, like, what do you think? And I have to find that relationship now.
Okay.
So from the beginning, I think I would have
saved you some time and effort if you'd done that beforehand.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
But again, I may have just been like, this isn't for me, and I'm going to go ahead and raise this money and get Kiwi Tech on board. So, but that's definitely, if you're looking at it and you're like, hey, I want to start this app and I do not code, know that there are people out there that are coders, and know that they may or may not, switch out for equity in your company.
I feel like we come back to this every episode, but I think it's always good to surround yourself with subject matter experts.
Oh, absolutely.
So
yeah, it is something I actually look forward to. Like when I brought on someone to handle my digital marketing, and listening to her talk about my product and what I need to do, I was just like, that sounds brilliant.
This product sounds really cool.
Right. Like, you're really good at this. Yeah. And it was really good to see someone who has that brain, who thinks of this day in and day out. And that's her job, to like put my product in that light. And I'm just like, I could talk about Job Swiper forever, but having her be a media expert.
Somebody to put it out there so you can build brand awareness.
Yes. And she just knows what she's talking about. And it's wonderful to hear. I'm just like, yes.
Yeah. That's great.
Get those SMEs as soon as you can.
Yeah. Subject matter experts, folks.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think we've wrapped up. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I'm excited to see and follow Job Swiper. So I've looked it up online. I haven't downloaded the app, but I will download it. I want to see the user experience.
Yes, please do.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you. If you are, thank you, Adria.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this so much. It's fun.
If you're interested in learning more about Adria's company, Job Swiper, you can visit, you can check out her website. It is job-swiper.com. And I'm sure your contact information is on there as well. Do you have social media handles?
Yes. So you can follow Job Swiper on Facebook. It's Job Swiper TM, all one word. And I also have Instagram. It's just Job Swiper on Instagram. I'm getting better with that. And again, I just brought somebody on. Yeah. So it will get even better after that. So, and then feel free to add me on Facebook as Adria McMichael. And I do a lot more updates on there than anything else. I'm trying to do the Twitter.
I'm not a natural tweeter.
Yeah.
I'm also trying.
I do follow Twitter way better than I actually like respond to Twitter. Like, I'm just like, oh, that's funny. And I'll go on and I go down the Twitter wormhole, but I never actually comment or say anything or do anything. So I'll get better.
You're leaps and bounds ahead of me. So if you're interested in that, please check her out online. Thank you for joining us today. This has been the Women Can Project and Podcast. We have a Facebook page. Check us out. We also have a website now. It is womencanproject.com. We are on Facebook and Instagram. I am trying to do that Instagram life. It's slow, but you should follow us. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful afternoon, everybody. And just remember that women can.